how to collapse those trusts, because it's the only way to get out of the system and claim your dominion as children of God, of the universe, and not as their slaves, as people lost at sea, incompetent, because that's how they consider you when you walk into court, an incompetent, dead, with no soul, because they own it. And those black judges who are priests of Baal, they are ecclesiastical. And I'll show you that after we go through a little bit more history. This is painful history, because if anyone of you have done their history and read a lot, you know, like through the Dark Ages, you'll know how much humanity suffered. Do you remember the Huguenots in France, the Lollards in Scotland, the Collegiants, the Socinians, the Anabaptists, the Waldenses? They started around this time and everything. These guys started the Inquisition at that time because people were waking up back then. But they killed that. Then 300 years later, 200 years later, the Renaissance, that came back through the Hermetic wisdom that they were drawing from Egypt via Hermes, the Hermetica, which created all the geniuses that have ever existed, because every genius has read the Hermetica, because that's where the Bible draws all of its inspiration from. Michelangelo, they were weaned on the Hermetica. What happened? Well, we're going to go through a bit of history to show how they came down on that awakening too. That Renaissance was squashed. This one ain't going to get squashed. This one, people are waking up. We shouldn't be angry about the evil that they represent. It's the fact that they are insane. They're insane. The elite families who control the Vatican and who are behind this corporation, and it's the corporation of the Apostle Peter, because Constantine, we can go earlier than this, we can go to 325, Constantine the Great. Supposedly, hundreds of years later, they found Constantine's donation. And that donation was written to his Pope Sylvester, to his, Constantine was of course the emperor, the Pope was Sylvester, and apparently Constantine says to Sylvester in this document, St. Peter is the apostle of Jesus, that Jesus gave the kingdom of this earth to, therefore we're going to claim taxes based on that, on the donation of Constantine. We're paying taxes because of that fictional document, guys. All taxes to Rome. And the elite families, the insane Khazarian and Venetian black nobility families, just like the Saxe-Coburg-Gotthas, that the Windsor family, false name. These are black nobility family bankers, bullion brokers. There's a book called Babylon's Bankers. There's a chapter in there called Monotheism, Military, Money, and Monotheism. Military, money, monarchies. He has exposed that this gathering, this cabal, they can't work separate from each other. A lot of people, when they see this pyramid of control, and they put the Queen on the top, and the Zionists and the Freemasons, don't understand that the Vatican and the Jesuits and the Superior General of the Jesuits actually sit on top, behind the scenes, but they work together. Then they have, that's the crown and then they have, that's the crown and the elite, insane families of the world who think they have better blood than the rest. And they have their think tanks. Then they have their financial control system, world resource control, world population control, and these little sheep down the bottom called debt slaves. We're all indebted. And we all bleed financially because they're taxing your wage. You go to work and you get taxed. Half of it goes to the government. We'll get into that a bit later. Okay, in 1455, we have a testamentary trust created. The first testamentary trust in history. That was Nicholas V, Pope Nicholas V, 1455. This was, bear in mind at the time, it's only like 20 or 30 years before Christopher Columbus sailed off to discover the Americas, right? This trust, this testamentary trust, which conveyed all of this property that the Vatican claimed, the whole world, they conveyed it into this trust. It's a trust that claims all your real estate. You know those titles you have? You don't own it. You own nothing. You do not own a thing. Well, you can't anyway. They're molecules. They belong to the universe, for a start. But the Vatican knows this. They know you can't own things. You can have right of use. That's all that that title means. You will never own it. Never in this system. In this system, I mean, which is about to end. This one is called Romanus Pontifex. Romanus Pontifex. This one is crown. This is where the crown originated. Remember that double crown? That's going to morph into a triple crown because there are 3 trusts. This is the first one. There's 2 more to come. See that triple crown? That's called the tiara, the papal tiara, or the triremium, the 3 kingdoms. What are those 3 kingdoms? Well, this is one of them. This is their fictional kingdom that they created. Remember Shrek and the king and his fictional characters? Same deal. Exactly the same deal. There it is in modern times. This Pope wore it. The last 3 popes refused to wear it. And there's Pope Boniface. That's him. That's Udante, confined to the bottommost pits of hell. And he and his successor Pope did what they did to the Knights Templar. Very important, because they stole the Knights Templar technology and corrupted it like they do with everything, for power and control. In 1481, now get this, 11 years before Columbus set sail, another trust. Now these 3 trusts, by the way, in the incipit of the trust, which is the introductory words of the trust, the testament, or the bull rather, it's the bull, the papal bull, the incipit says, for a perpetual remembrance. That's trust. Right. Now, this one's called attorney. Attorney A-E, that's an A, excuse my writing. Attorney Regis, the Eternal Crown. This is Pope Sixtus, the 4th. Pope Sixtus the 4th. And this is the 2nd testamentary deed, trust, deed and will, the 2nd crown of the people, which makes people slaves. This is the Commonwealth. The crown, the Commonwealth was born here. You think these are all English things, don't you? No. The Queen serves the Pope. The Vatican is the most powerful entity on this planet, accepting these people of Knights Templar, or the Temple Bar rather, I forget the year, were granted this. This is in the City of London, the square mile. This land has no title. That is the only land in the Western Hemisphere, or you could say the world, because as you'll see, this system has spread its tentacles all around the planet, but mostly in the court systems, in the Western court systems, which I'm going to show you. So we're going to go to that now in a minute once I get off the history. Because when you go to court, you will see it. You'll see who they are, those judges and magistrates, who exactly they serve. It's not you. And there's no justice. There is no justice. That's why you wonder when you hear these outrageous things that happen in court. Innocent people who were speeding or something, who had some marijuana and they're in prison. My God, there's some suffering in our prisons. In 1531, yeah, 1531, convocation. The third trust. This one takes away your real estate. When you register with your birth certificate, that number is the number of these three Sestwi KV trusts. Learn this word. That's the name of your enslavement. That, in Latin, is six. 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 There are three of them. That's six in Latin. That's six. There are three Sestwi KVs. Sestwi KV, or Setui KV. A lot of people say Setui. That's the Triple Crown. They own and sit on the crown. They are the kings of these trusts, which have taken away your real estate, your personal property, and your soul. This is for baptism, for Catholics. That's why they want baptisms. That's why they go around converting. And that has stolen and deprived us of our real wealth. These are worth about $15 million. If you've got a birth certificate in this country, in the Commonwealth of Australia, which is registered with the Securities Stock Exchange Commission in New York, you are a shareholder. Canon law, which I'm going to talk about soon, was established in this country in 83 because something happened in 1975. The Crown of Aragon, which was in England's hand, which is this crown, they had the crown. See, they were granted, this was granted to the Crown of Aragon, Isabella and Ferdinand. Well, General Franco took that when he became king in 1975, went back to Spain. It was originally for Spain, created at that time, before Columbus went to America. And when Columbus comes back in 94, he signed the Tesadillos contract with the King of Portugal, with the approval of Alexander, Pope Alexander, back in Rome. So they have the title for all of the Americas. And they're just Sestwi KV accounts. That's all they are. Trusts. Everything is a Sestwi KV. Everything goes back to these trusts. Now, what I'm going to show you is when you go to court, it's trust law. They're administering these priests of Baal, of Saturn, who is Satan, and remember, as Virgil said in the Aeneid, we the Latins, everyone knows, are Saturn's people. Latin, L is replaced, you just take the S away from Saturn and you put L there. Same word. Latin is Saturn. It's the same word. L is L, that's another name for Saturn. That's why you can say Latin. But the Latin Church, that's why they speak Latin. This is all Latin, and even they know they're Latin because it's Satan's church. They dress in black. They are the Grim Reapers. They are reaping our souls. The souls belong to them. I saw this the other day on the internet. I thought I'd copy that and show you. There's who they are. The Grim Reaper is black. That's why they wear black. They are ecclesiastical. We'll go through that in a minute. I saw this on the internet. Isn't that appropriate? Remember the Austin Powers? 1 million souls. Yeah. No souls are enough. They love devastating souls, sodomizing souls. How much pedophilia is in this church? How much? It's coming down. It's coming down. The Jesuits, did you hear about this? I'm sidetracking a little bit, but in one of the largest settlements in the Catholic Church's sweeping sex abuse scandal, an order of priests has agreed to pay $166 million to hundreds of Native Americans and Alaska natives who were abused at the order's schools around the US Pacific Northwest. The settlement between more than 450 victims. Imagine if you were one of them. We don't think about it, but Yeah, and how many of those people committed suicide? Those ones that are left to fight, if they've got any fight left in them after they've been sodomised and abused by these criminals. And the Oregon province of the Society of Jesuits, anyway, they apologise. The settlement is believed to be the Catholic Church's third largest in the sex abuse cases, behind the Los Angeles Diocese, which agreed to pay $660 million to 508 victims, and the San Diego Diocese, which agreed to pay $198 million to 144 victims. It's just a drop in the ocean for them for all the wealth that they have, but nonetheless, it will bring them down because it's coming in crashing, thundering.
Why do they do that?
Because they're abusers.
But are they taught at preschool to do that? Are they brainwashed to do that?
It is part brainwashing, yes. They've been indoctrinated. They've been indoctrinated and they've been mind controlled. It's all mind control. All of this. It's all mind control. It's all filthy mind control. In that city of London, which I'm going to show you, this is what Franco Collins is talking about. There's Jerusalem, the Holy of Holies, the Middle Temple and the Outer Temple. That's what they've done in the City of London. That's the City of London. There are 3 cities in the world that do not... well, let me put it this way. There's 3 cities in the world that run the show. DC, Washington, just a square mile, a couple of square miles. City of London, where the Temple Bar is. The Temple Bar is in there. That is the only piece of land in the world that is over and above the Vatican. Remember that? I showed you that? That's in the City of London. It has to be, because this is the inner temple. It's the same as, this is the New Jerusalem. That's why they sing the song about New Jerusalem, the most popular song in the British Commonwealth, isn't it? Because they created the New Jerusalem. They were given the New Jerusalem. There it is, in the City of London. The Middle Temple, the inner temple, and that's the outer temple, based on that system that the Templars brought back from Jerusalem. It's a system of slavery, because the ones who are in the outer temple, they are the Gentiles, or the Goyim, or the scum of the earth. They're the ones that get taught exoteric religion. For instance, that Jesus Christ is pure history. When they were teaching Jesus Christ 2,000 years, 3,000, 4,000, who knows how many thousand years, in India as Krishna, his name was Yes Krishna, and in Egypt as Horus, and he wasn't historical. They made it up. The Romans did that, the Julian family did that, and the Purical. They made it up. The Romans did that, the Julian family did that, and the Piso family. This is a guy, Roman Piso, elite. This is one of the elites of the world. This is one of the richest of these families. They invented the whole historical thing. And put it into the Bible so that it would appear to be history, so that they could keep people in the outer temple and then enslave them. This is the New Jerusalem, guys, that has enslaved us. And that's why the judges refuse to have any kind of conscience and any kind of love and any kind of justice in their courts. They know they've got no right to send little boys into the prison. Why do they send them to prison? Because they're getting commissions. They get $160,000 because they create what's called a constructive trust. When you go to court, they make a constructive trust. And you're going in as the beneficiary of the trust, of the Sestui KV trust, that has stolen all of your wealth, all of it. You have nothing until we collapse the trust, and that's what Serena's going to be doing in the second half. She's going to teach how to collapse these trusts. This is the 666, the mark of the beast, the mark of the fool. Because if you're foolish enough as a parent to say, oh, there's my little boy, he's born, and the government says you've got to register him, and, oh, well, we'll inform, the hospitals get $2,000 fee, spot fee, for registering you. That's why the nurses there, are you going to register really? Yes, register. What does register mean? Well, I know what that means. That means king. You're giving over to the king. All capitals is a fiction. It's a corporation. And it's connected to this. This is why a lot of people go to court and don't understand why they lose. They don't understand what's going on, the jargon. Well, you're gonna get that. You're gonna get that now. First, I want to show you a couple of pictures. That is 1968. That's the Pope. That's Pope Pius IX. That's an army. This is a picture that the Vatican would not like you to see. Comes out of Tony Bushby's book. He's another Australian who's written a lot about the Vatican, the papal buildings. That is 1571, I believe. I don't have the information for that. I forget who was the famous painter. I think that's the Bay of Naples. There's 200 warships there. Do you know who owns those warships? They're on their way to fight against Turkey in 1571, an Inquisition, a crusade. That's the Popes.